change and the future. Through that door is enormous possibility for the future of the legal profession. And for those of us who embrace change or analyze it and see how it can impact our business in a positive way, the problem is if we as a profession do not pay attention to what's happening, we don't analyze it and bring it to fruition in our practice, that door could close on us. Why? One of the reasons. What we do and the legal profession is blurry to consumers. And I'm going to stop right there. I am going to say the word consumers, not clients, because who we are dealing with, who we are talking to are consumers of services. And we have heard that what we provide is a service. I'm going to challenge you to take off your lawyer filter. What you learned in law school, how you've been practicing, what you've been doing as a lawyer, and I'd like you to instead put on your consumer hat, because we're all consumers. We're all consumers of services, and we all demand certain things of our service providers. So as we look as a consumer, why is this so blurry to them? Let's take an example of a real-life consumer. Kim. Kim is the mother of 2 young boys. She's in an abusive relationship. To Kim, it's blurry. She doesn't know where to turn, how to even begin a divorce, what to do, what's going to happen to her children. How will she find a place to live? How will she financially survive? If we leave our lawyer hat on, we can issue spot right away for Kim, can't we? We can help her and tell her exactly what she's going to experience and what she should do. But to Kim, it's not clear. And Kim is not the only one. The United States sits very low in access to civil legal services. We tie with countries like Kenya and Egypt. That means that every other country above us provides more affordable access to civil legal services. It's blurry. It's not clear. And in fact, only 24% of Americans seek an attorney's assistance for civil legal needs. 24%. That might be because it's too stressful, it costs too much, they don't know where to turn, or they don't think it will make a difference. I'm going to stop right there. They don't think that seeking a lawyer's services will make a difference. 46% of people don't even understand they have a legal need to begin with. So no matter what change we talk about, no matter what we're going to do, if we don't help consumers understand that they have a legal need to begin with, no matter what change we make, it's not going to make a difference. We have to help people, consumers, get a clearer understanding of what they're experiencing. So I'm going to help you try to make it clearer. Legal checkups. Why is it that legal checkups aren't the norm like medical checkups are? Arguably, the majority of the people in this room and Americans go to a doctor on a fairly regular basis to get checkups. Whether it's for preventative care, whether they've got something going on with them, they go see their provider because they see value in doing so. So why isn't that the norm for the legal profession? How would that have helped Kim or others like her make it clearer? So how do we make this happen, legal checkups? How do we make it the norm? The first thing we've got to do is keep off that lawyer hat and talk in their terms, in consumers' terms. We have to be able to draw them in so they can start thinking about what they're experiencing or going to experience so that they can understand. The way to do that is talk about legal life events. Things such as, I'm going to get a divorce. I'm having a baby. I'm going to buy a house. I now have an elderly parent that I'm caring for. These are terms that consumers can understand. Their brains can start processing what could happen, what might happen, and you can help them do that. You can do that through bringing them in, maybe it's through your blog or whatever, but it's talking to them and walking them through a checklist. It could be as simple as on paper, it could be as technologically advanced as through an app. But walking them through their problem, but you've got to make sure when you do so that you have somebody review it who is outside of your practice. However you're talking about the checkup and getting them to walk through their legal issue, their life event, you've got to have somebody else looking at it so they understand. Don't believe me that life events are prevalent and way to get to the consumer. 74% of people say they experienced a legal life event in the last year. It's quite a few. So as you're grabbing these people in and getting them to talk about the checkup in their life and what's happening, also tie it to things that are being impacted in their life. So for example, 55% of people say that legal life event caused stress in their job place. 55%, those are astounding numbers of people that you could reach if you help them with a preventative legal checkup. Another way that we can be clearer and make it clearer to consumers what we do, preventative lawyering. Preventative lawyering instead of crisis mode lawyering, where we're actually helping people before they experience a crisis that then becomes too expensive, too stressful, etc. So I want you to meet another person, a real-life consumer, Teresa. She's a single mom of a young girl, and she wants to rent a house. And she's reading through the lease agreement. She doesn't see any need to go to an attorney. It's fine. Everything in there is fine, except that what she doesn't understand is the damage that's on her wall in the house will become hers. She doesn't understand that it might be extremely difficult to get back her deposit. All things that we could help with, all things that are now going to become a crisis to Teresa afterwards when she's having to try to get her deposit back, etc. So what happens if Teresa felt like she could go to an attorney on a regular basis without a retainer, potentially sometimes for free, but she regularly consults an attorney? She finds value in talking and consulting with an attorney. What would happen to the legal profession if this was the norm? What would happen to the access to justice gap? I do want to say quickly on the preventative lawyering. You do it just the same way as legal checkups. You've got to make it in their terms, but you also think of ways that you can market yourself. I'm not talking ethically. You'll have to make sure you're bound by your ethic rules in your state. But what I am saying is, let's say I'm a real estate attorney. I need to pay attention to what's going on around me in my local community. And I need to listen to what's going on with local ordinance changes or tax abatements that are being proposed. What happens then if I were to talk about those issue spotting in my blog or in coffee chats or just talking to people in town? They'll start to see me as someone who they maybe should listen to. They maybe should come to because, I never even thought about with this local ordinance, maybe I should be seeing what I need to learn about and how I need to prepare in the future. So preventative lawyering. The last thing I want to talk about today is legal insurance. It is not malpractice insurance. Legal insurance, since we've already talked about legal checkups and medical checkups, it's very similar to medical insurance. For a low monthly premium, usually $20 a month or less, you get access as a member for your covered services to a qualified attorney. The thing that legal insurance does, we talked about understanding the legal issue, the 46%. That's one of the main things that legal insurance tries to do is make an awareness that you have a legal issue. And then once there's that awareness, they connect you to an attorney. So there's your access and affordability. But the thing that we've talked about today is client focus. What legal insurance does is turn it and work with their attorneys to ensure their client focus. We survey every single one of our members, and we provide that feedback internally to the attorney so that he and his staff or she and her staff can make a difference in their customer service. There's also diversity to ensure that the member is going to an attorney they're comfortable going to and talking with. And finally, there is a partnership. A partnership that helps attorneys understand what's going on in the legal profession, the change that is being talked about, the technology that's being implemented, so that they are not alone and that they understand and can make good decisions on how to implement or what to implement. Don't believe me? Remember we talked about 94th? United States ranks 94th. What do the top 10 countries on that rank have in common? Germany, Norway, Switzerland, Sweden. They all have legal insurance. They don't understand why there's an access to justice gap in the United States. It's not clear to them why we have an issue because they feel that it is just as important as your medical insurance, going to a doctor, your auto, etc. They feel the value of going to lawyers and getting legal services. 90% of members say that legal insurance takes away their stress at work, etc. And 90% of them say that they will go back to an attorney to get preventative help, to get legal checkups, because they have that affordable, comfortable access, because they understand the value of going to a lawyer, going to an attorney and getting services. And in fact, 88% of them say they will refer that lawyer on to family and friends, regardless if they're a legal plan member or not. Something to think about. Kim and Teresa are real-life plan members. They have written to us to talk about how the stress that could have happened and they could have experienced was not realized because of their legal insurance plan. This is an exciting time for lawyers. Let's walk through this door to incredible possibilities that we have talked about and are going to continue to talk about. It's important for us as a community and a profession to engage in what's going on. If we haven't convinced you by now, maybe this stat will. There's the market share. If we don't walk through that door and make change, someone else will, and that door will close in our face. Thank you.